Okay, take two, and I think we're working, so apologies for what happened earlier. So, should we try again? See what happens? Welcome to Forest Fan TV. Good morning, good evening, good night. Look, we are moving at normal speeds. Guys in the chat, apologies for that. What a mishap was start. We are testing some new kit out, and test failed. Test failed.
Test failed.
We're back. We're back. Yeah, take two, Chris. Exactly that, mate. Exactly that. Thank you for your patience. Sorry, we can. This is real. This is real. Yeah. So
we're back on, guys.
We're back. We're back. We'll pretend nothing happened, and now we've just started again. And let's see what happens. How are you, boys? It's good to see you in 3D and motion full. Don't even start trolling. Don't even start trolling. Okay. So coming up tonight, as I said earlier, we've got Mario joining us shortly. Hopefully he hasn't gone.
Hopefully, hopefully he doesn't go to the last link.
Yeah. Otherwise, Mario's going to be in slow motion himself. So. Welcome back and welcome to, it's going to be a fun stream because we've got Mario coming on. We're going to talk about Bournemouth and the game there. Pretend you haven't heard what we already said in slow motion. And and also, we're probably going to have time to have a look forward. Yeah, Keith, it's now. 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 Walking boom. Good to see you, buddy. There's going to be a lot of that. Look, there was, we had to burn some wood. No pun intended. And it's yep, Stan, good to see you. You should have all changed clothes. Funny you should mention that. No. Okay, so we are back. We are live. Appreciate you all putting up with us. And it's a shame we couldn't maybe do a reset with the game yesterday. Because I do feel if we played it again with hindsight, I think there's a few changes we could have made just to improve it. Because I'll be honest with you, man, even though I was confident, I did say on the stream before we went live, I've just got that niggly feeling about Bournemouth being that annoying team that just somehow manages to get something against us. So I couldn't hear what you boys were saying. So do you want to say what you said, but say it differently so that we're not repeating ourselves for those guys? How many additional 50p's did it take? A lot. So yeah, if anyone wants to chuck a few 50p donos our way for the meter, it's much appreciated. But no, sorry, apologies, and we're back, but we're back on song now. So we'll talk about Danilo and Scarpa once Mario gets on, because he's got a few things he wants to say about them. But I want to start with Aurier. Are we saying that's a one-off for him because he was poor yesterday, man? And is it that they did target him and got him a bit flustered? Is there a weakness in his game that we haven't seen exposed till now? What do you think, Ant? He's your boy. Is it a one-off?
I'm hoping it's a one-off. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be a one-off. Just one of those games. He had a bad game. Yeah. No further explanation, really, because there isn't one. It's not something we've seen from him at all since he arrived. He's been superb. And that performance yesterday came as quite a shock. But hopefully it's a one-off and he'll be more determined in his next game to put it right. I'm sure he knows himself. I'm sure he does.
Yeah. But are we holding him to too high a standard, Ez? Because he's been nothing but short of fantastic every game. I said on the player rating yesterday, I can't remember less than an 8 out of 10 for him. For every game he's been involved in so far. Free signing, last man through the door and all that. But guys in the chat, are you guys there thinking that it's a one-off or not? Let us know. But I can't see him performing like that again. And as Am mentioned, he's gonna know it himself, isn't he?
I think you're right, and it's the standards he's already set for himself, hasn't he? He's really surprised all of us, and we can't. If we had a vote now, he'd probably be in the top 3, top 5 of our signings so far this season, and certainly even one who's surprised us the most. So yeah, the standards have already been set, and they've been set by himself. So I'm going to take yesterday as just a one-off, but it does seem like there's a little bit of a Achilles heel if teams can target him, but he can, he can become susceptible. But what I did like that once a change was made, actually, I would say Nico Williams made a real good impact when he came on. So what we were lacking, I mean, I would say Aurier again. It's going forward, he was fine yesterday. It was just defensively, he was so far off the pace of it, and that's where they were getting most of their joy. And what I mentioned earlier was that Anthony seems to just play like a beast against us, and the left back Zamora, fantastic player, really, really fantastic player, and would fit into most teams, to be honest. I'd love to have him at Forest. I've mentioned that I'd probably take him over Omar Richards, even though we haven't seen Omar Richards.
He's only got one leg, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Just looking at this one from Matt, and it says it has to be a one-off. Besides, he wasn't the only one having an off game. Fully agree with that. But he's got Jono, Mangala, Worrell Yates, and MG Dub also having a poor game. If we were to compare the home form and recent away matches, would you agree with that list, Ant? Would you say all those players, or what would you take issue with what Matt's saying there?
I don't think that Jono was particularly bad. I don't think Yates was particularly bad. Obviously, there's something not right there. He went off with dizzy spells, so, you know, a little bit of leeway there. And MGW, I certainly don't think had a bad game.
No,
that's just my opinion.
Man of the match, yeah. I agree with you, Matt. I'd be interested to know what you thought about MG Dub, because I saw your comments as well, and I'm not calling you out. I'm just interested. What you thought about MG Dub on that front. And the rest of the chat seems to be agreeing. Owen saying MG Dub was good again. So Sai. Bobby on Aurier saying Aurier always plays up the pitch with Yates in front of him. He has to cover open spaces. There was a bit of that, wasn't there, the Leicester game? Because I remember, I think it was you as saying that he was caught too high up for one of their counters and left a lot of space in behind. But is that a risk you have to be willing to accept when you've got fullbacks that are attacking?
Yeah, you do. But then you counteract it by one of your CDMs slots into that cover that space, don't they? And that's how it should work. I think that side of the field was affected yesterday. I would say Aurier had a bad game. I would say we can give him excuses, no doubt about it. But I think Yates didn't have a particularly good game yesterday either before he had to come off. And Worrell, and that side of the field was affected, especially that first half. I saw more improvement in the second half, definitely. But I think they all had a bad game, and only 2 or 3 players in one area of the field having a bad game when you could quite clearly see that's where they were getting their joy down their left-hand side, down our right. So they targeted it. It did the trick for them. They didn't really capitalize any more than that. Ant and I were discussing about a couple of gilt-edge chances that they missed, especially the header by Kiefer Moore, which we couldn't believe that he missed that. That was gilt-edged. I almost turning away in disappointment, but to see that he'd actually missed that from that angle, from that position, he just had to pick a spot pretty much, didn't he? So we did get away with a couple of. They didn't really take advantage of all the pressure they had and all the possession they had. Possession stats were actually quite good for us for a change, weren't they? They were above 50%, which is strange for us, especially away from home, which kind of showed that they were playing a certain style of play that they wanted us to have the ball. Pretty much similar to when we played Brighton away from home and we gave them the ball and it was up to them to break us down, which they couldn't do, thankfully. Similar style of play that Bournemouth used yesterday. But to be fair, they didn't capitalise on their chances and it kept us in the game. And once we got our equaliser, I felt there was only one team going to win it. And I was kind of disappointed.
It's just a shame it came so late, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think we got stitched. We get stitched on the injury time a little bit as well. They should have been at least 6 or 7 minutes from my reckoning, but it seems to be the case recently when we need it.
I mean, the stats were all in our favour, weren't they? If you looked at the stats, the game purely on stats, you'd think, wow, they must have been brilliant.
Yeah. But it didn't feel like Harold saying he preferred the lag. Don't worry, we'll get that all sorted out. Look, what we're trying to do is like upgrade everything for you guys to make the viewing experience better. I just find these boxy, podcasts, whatever you want to call them, just a bit boring. So we're trying. So bear with us, and we will get it sorted. there's some transfer news talk, but I want to get on to talking about our Brazilian boys, seeing that you're wearing that top. And of course, because the crowd have asked for him, and he was such an amazing guest last time. We have live coming to us from, I think, Canada this time, the absolute legend. That is Mario. Mario, how are you, buddy? It's great to see you. Guys in the chat, show Mario some love for taking the time out to be with us again today. How are you, buddy?
All good, guys. So good to be with you again. Thanks for inviting me. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit pissed off because we just played a derby against São Paulo. It was a 0-0, but not a very good game. But yeah, I'm so excited to join you guys again.
It's good to have you, buddy. It's good to have you. Are you missing? Do you think you drew because Danilo was missing and Scarpina? Was there an impact there? Or?
Yeah. You guys have no idea how much we missed Danilo already.
Seriously,
him is going to be a tough task.
Wow.
Yeah. What do you think though of Ant's top?
Sorry, I didn't. It's lagging a little bit.
What do you think of Ant's green shirt today, Mario?
Oh, that's beautiful, dude. That's beautiful. It matches my background here. Now I'm in my studio right now. You know, now I have my equipment again. So the first broadcast I was in Brazil, didn't have the best setup, but yeah, now we're back, and that's a beautiful jersey, dude. And it brings me a lot of good memories because we won the Brazilian Cup that year against Santos, one of our biggest rivals as well. So that jersey's fantastic.
Yeah, well, and doing us proud, representing the Brazilians from our side of the pond. So it's good. It's good. Guys in the chat, we've got a Q&A open. Get your questions into Mario. And we're going to start talking about Danilo and Scarpina now, and a bit about Logi as well. Danilo came on yesterday, Mario. I don't know if you've seen any of the highlights from the match at all from yesterday. And he looked a little nervous because he came on just before halftime. He looked a little nervous in the first 5 minutes before the halftime break. But then the second half, I think once Scarpina came on, it released him, because I feel there were certain points where Danilo and Freuler were both playing as CDMs and holding back too deep. And then Scarpa came on and played a deeper position himself, which kind of released Freuler a bit up the pitch, which was interesting to see. And then Danilo just was in there. He looked settled within 10 minutes of the second half. And he was straight in there. And is that what we can expect of him, just ready to go like that? Or is there still more in the tank from him?
Well, I mean, like you said, I think I watched your stream after the game, your analysis, and I did watch the highlights. The game was pretty early here in Vancouver.
Yeah,
I think it was like 7 a.m. So I wasn't ready to watch it. I was waking up and getting ready to go to work. But I did watch the highlights and also the post-match analysis. Your manager is it Cooper, right? Your manager is
Cooper, yeah.
So I don't get it wrong. Yeah. So I watched his interview as well. So yeah, like you said, he was a little bit stiff, a little bit like insecure to begin with. I think he wasn't like 100% mentally ready to join on the first half because of the injury of the other players. So surely when he first tried to control the ball, he was a little bit lost. But then when Scarpa joined him, it's a very good symphony that they have together, as well as they did here in Brazil, not here in Brazil, in Palmeiras. So I think Danilo, like you said, he was a little bit nervous. You have to give him a little bit of time to adapt, right? But he's a fantastic player, dude. He's still very young. Like I told you, he had a very poor upbringing, so very humble person. He doesn't speak the language. He's not used to the cold weather because where he came from, pretty warm all the time. So, and the game style, his play style needs to adapt to the Premier League. But yeah, soon enough, dude, give him like a few matches, 3-4 matches, he's going to be ready to go. And you guys are going to see what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And were you impressed with what you saw from him yesterday?
Yeah, I was. I mean, he came on it. And as we say, he was a little bit. I mean, obviously, the guy's going to be a bit nervous making his debut. Unfortunately for him, Mario, he played in quite easily the worst stadium in the Premier League, Bournemouth. That stadium holds 11,500. We would have taken 11,500 had we been given the tickets. So he made his debut in a crappy little stadium. But after the first few minutes, it was his athleticism that got me excited. The way he moved across the ground, he got stuck in. He was aware all the time. I was really, really impressed with him. Even though it was his first game, you make allowances. He did more than enough to me to show promise that he's going to be a top player for us. Very exciting.
Yeah. And as the way that Scarpa guided him on at the start and was acting like a bit of a translator was pretty cool, wasn't it? And it's like you can tell he's almost like a fatherly figure to him already coming into it.
Yeah, you can see there's a lot of respect and love between them two, and that's my new nickname for Scarpa now. He's the translator because he seems to be playing that part. And even when he came on the pitch, you're right, his impact sitting a bit deeper, and it was what I was asking for when at half time was asking for Scarpa to come on and play down that left hand side, so he links up Lodgy, Danilo and himself, and they get a little bit of a Brazilian quartet triangle going on down that left-hand side, and it seemed to really spur us into a bit of possession and also like just a bit of shape. I saw a better shape with that, even with whilst Chris Wood was on, and once we got our foothold into the game, you could see that Danilo really looked the part. He was tidy on the ball. He was aggressive when he needed to be. He didn't look rushed. I was really impressed. Really impressed with that second half.
Murray, I want to ask you about Scarpa, but some people saying there's a bit of echo coming from your mic. I don't know if I couldn't pick it up. Is there, guys in the chat, yes or no? Are there any echoes coming from Mario's mic when he's talking? Let us know. Obviously, we want the production to not be like the lagged one. But what I want to ask you about, Mario, is about Scarpa and the different roles he can play, because he came on yesterday and he was almost playing as a box-to-box really in midfield. I was actually impressed with his tackling. You know, I didn't have him down as a CDM, but he was quite deep, picking the ball up and then driving it forward. Is that a position he's played with Palmeiras before, where he sits a bit deeper, or can he just play everywhere, man?
I was actually quite impressed. Like you said, he was actually, I even made some notes here. He was almost playing as a CDM at first, as a left back as well, just getting the ball from the goalkeeper and starting that transition from defense to the attack, right? So he did that quite a few times when we had no other players to do that role, to play that role. So he can do that. He knows how to do it. And I told you before, he can play anywhere on the pitch. Anywhere you put him, he's going to perform. Of course, his preferred position is always going to be that CAM to left wing or right wing, coming from the sides, maybe from the right wing when he can cut the ball to the middle and cross it with that curve, with that bend that he does so well. But like I said, he has very good vision, very good passing, crossing, finishing as well. Even though he kind of flunked one of the kicks that I saw there, like one of the opportunities that you guys had, the ball came to him and he just kicked the air. I mean, that happens as well with the best players. So, I mean, it's no biggie, right? But yeah, he
did it on purpose, man, because he passed it. The pass ended up going to, was it Surridge? Just there.
You see, that's his quality as well. You know, like he knows what's gonna happen. He's like, he has like a fifth sense. You know.
Yeah, it was really good. I just don't know why he didn't start. I mean, Ez, would you have liked to seen him starting yesterday?
That would have been the way round. I would have gone with it. I wouldn't have started with Chris Wood. I didn't think it made sense after he's not actually trained with the first team, as mentioned. But I would have liked to see him start. As it turns out, whatever happens, he changed the game, and he got us more. He did a couple of things that I was really impressed with. Not only, obviously, his range of passing. Scarpini's range of passing is fantastic. Occasionally, he'll get it wrong. But his range of passing with very little backlift is just amazing. And also how when he was in that deep lying position, he dribbled up the field with, like, honestly, he had no fear. He's dribbling past 3 or 4 defenders.
They had to foul him. They fouled him, didn't they, on that one? He picked it up at left back, ran it forward.
Yeah, he varied his pace. He never looked like he was going to be out of control of a ball, always looking around as well. It takes a special kind of player who can do that, you know, still be confident on the ball. So I think he was a real game changer yesterday and brought out the best of in our other 2 Brazilians as well. And certainly got us on the front foot a lot more, because the first half we were poor. I mean, if if Bournemouth had taken their chances, we could have been going in 2-3-0 down, and the game could have pretty much been gone. But we were still in the game, and the Scarpina substitution for me was a game changer yesterday.
Yeah. We will talk about Wood in a minute, but while we've got our Palmeiras experts on, we're going to focus a bit on the Brazilians, and I'm going to throw him a curveball in a minute and watch how I build up to this one. And how did you feel about Hennessy's performance yesterday? Were you a bit more set on him?
What's that got to do with the Brazilians? He's thrown me one there.
Watch where I just wait. You'll see. You'll see.
Yeah, but I've got a really serious.
It's the jersey, mate. It's the jersey.
I've got a really serious question to ask Mario. Do you want me to keep it, or do you want me to ask him now?
It depends what it is.
Well, I have to say it if you want to know what it is. Right? Okay, Mario. we call Scarpa Scarpina. Yeah. Well, I've got a new name for Danilo. It's called Daniplo. Have you guys noticed the size of that guy's nipples? Is it something you've said? Be honest.
I mean, I never noticed it. I never gave it a good look. Maybe because I'm not that interested. But well, you can't lie. You can't lie. He's got very nice nipples, though.
We never said they were nice.
We saw he did the medical at Forest, and during the medical, they filmed it, and he had his top off in like that. And I thought, oh, it must be cold or something. But then they brought out the photographs of him in his new Forest shirt. And that's all you can see. I love him. No, I shouldn't say that.
It's super cold, dude. It's like I said, he's coming from a very warm place in Brazil, the state of Bahia. It's super warm. So, like, he's not used to that. So it could be one of the reasons. But, well, I mean, yeah. I always pay more attention to his playing than
yeah, can we talk about the play rather than?
I was expecting you to say, yeah, it's funny you should say that. That's what we'll call him as well.
Yeah, all right, let's Nipplegate, exactly, man. Oh wow, you've got a real fan in Harold here, and anyway, I want to, because you're gonna ruin my segue, mate. You're gonna ruin my segue, right?
Oh, try again then. Rewind.
Hennessy, guys in the chat, I want to know: are you less worried about Hennessy or more worried after yesterday? And does anyone put any of the blame on the goal towards Hennessy for it yesterday or not? I want to know. Yeah, it really is, Si. It really is. Well, Ant does have his own channel. Yeah, let's nip it in the bud. Hennessy, Ant. Let's try again. Take two. I'm doing a lot of take twos tonight. Go on.
Listen, I'm going to go against the grain here because I don't think Hennessy had a bad game at all. And I don't think he was responsible for that goal. I thought that goal was a brilliant goal. Yes, the defender could have come across quicker. I'm not excusing all that. But the actual execution of the goal, the way he took it, the first touch was perfect. And he put it right in the far corner and low. So that's my feeling on that. I know that everybody else is going to say, Hennessy's shit. I don't give a toss. That's my opinion.
Ez, did you put any of the blame on Hennessy for that goal?
I did initially. I got to admit, I put a small percentage of it on him initially. But looking back at it, I think first off, we should have done more to stop the cross. Lodgy gave, I'm going to call him Django Unchained, their new right winger. Yeah. Gave him way too much time to get the cross in. And Worrell, for me, you got to be running across your defender there. You got to be anticipating that coming in at the far post, at the near post. Sorry. So the blame for me squarely lies with the left back, unfortunately, and our centre back. By the time the shots come in, he could have probably got down a little bit quicker, but by that stage, you can't really put the blame on him. So I'm going to pull back a little bit of my criticism of Hennessy for that one. I still don't think he's a backup goalkeeper for the Premier League. He's a third choice goalkeeper for me, and we'll touch on it a bit further down the line. But I think whatever we do in the next week or so in the transfer market is going to kind of indicate what Cooper thinks about his position.
Well, there is huge links to Navas at the moment, and they're getting stronger, which we'll get onto in a bit. But the reason I want to talk about goalkeepers and then bring it around to Mario is because we got a question. Oh, where the question's gone. From Richard saying, Mario, do you think we need any more Palmeiras players from you? And what I want to talk about is your goalkeeper. Because apparently he's good, and apparently he's only like 3.5 million euros. Can we have him?
Can we have him?
Dude, my friends are gonna freaking kill me if I talk about any more Palmeiras players here. But no, you guys cannot have my goalkeeper, dude. He's so good. Although I think he's like 34, 33 years old. I'm
really?
Not like 100% sure. I even thought when he joined, he was younger. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, but
I think you're lying now. I think he's trying to sell him really badly now.
Yeah, so, chat.
Yeah, he's
pretty.
His name's what's his name? Waverton, isn't it? How do you say his name?
Yeah, it's Weverton.
Guys in the chat, go find out his age because he's lying to us. Go.
But you can see if you take a good look at him, he's pretty bold. So I'm not gonna lie, he might be actually 33, 34. But when he first joined, because of his athleticism and his explosion, I thought he was younger actually. And he came from a team in the south region of Brazil. Since he joined Palmeiras, the fans love him. He's super he's insanely good, dude. So I'm not going to talk about Weverton. Please don't sign any more of our players because we are.
I'm just going to say, because Dino's done his research, yeah? Dino's done his research for us at the high press part of FFTV.
No question.
And he's your best performing player, yeah?
No question about
it. Even ahead of Danilo, Scarpini, Navarro, all of those. So, but the thing that's got me interested, there's no links. You don't need to worry. There's no links, yeah? But apparently, someone could have him for 3.5 million. That's the going rate apparently for him.
Yeah, and he was actually the third goalkeeper in the World Cup for Brazil.
Yeah,
so he actually played
behind Alisson and
Ederson. Yeah, and Ederson. Yeah, I honestly, I think he's better than both of them. I think he's better than both of them.
Oh, really?
And it's not because I'm a Palmeiras fan, dude. This is, like common knowledge in Brazil. Alisson and Ederson, they're super good goalkeepers, but they lack a few qualities here and there. I think Weverton is such a complete goalkeeper, and he deserved more chances during the World Cup. But honestly, I'm going to shut up because you guys are going to want to sign him again.
I was say, Mario, you're not doing a very good job of keeping your players.
No.
It's hard, isn't it? Wait, Mario, what's Neto saying here?
Neto is my cousin. The last name is the same one, Capellini. So he said, get the F out, leave the man here. Don't touch him. Don't touch him.
For all the Palmeiras fans in there, feel free, type in Portuguese. We got a translator tonight, so it's going to be fun. Weverton was in the World Cup.
So I tell you what, we're prepared. Now listen to this. We're prepared to give you both Hennessy and Jordan Smith for Weverton.
And Horvath. We'll give him 3. Horvath.
And Steve Cook to drive him there.
We're just going to offload.
But he is a name that seems to have been around for a long time. But if he's at that age of 34, 35, which is what the guys in the chat are saying, then he's probably missed his boat. But how long has he been at Palmeiras, Mario? How long has he been there?
Wow, that's a great question. I think like some 4 years or so. And I do think he missed his chance to go to Europe. I don't know why European clubs did not pay attention to him. Usually they come in full force when the player's young to take him to Europe, which is understandable because the money there is way better, right? And of course the quality of the competition as well. But I honestly have no idea. It beats me why Weverton never had his chance in Europe.
Especially with Brazilian goalkeepers, because they've been flavor of the month down here, as you say. Alisson and Man City's goalkeeper, but both playing in the Premier League, 2 of the best goalkeepers for the style of play that seems to be playing out from the back. So is Weverton that kind of play? Can he play out from the back? Is he a good distributor of the ball?
Absolutely. He's good with his feet. He's good with his hand. Coming out of the box when the ball gets crossed in, he has good positioning, good timing. 35 years old. So it's something like that. I didn't have like a complete confirmation, but he is.
I told you we're gonna catch you off guard, mate. I told you. I've been making a list of a few players I want.
I mean, my friends are gonna freaking kill me, dude. I mean, I can't keep going on and talking about it.
We've got someone here was saying, where's it gone? Fernando's saying Pedro9 from Flamingo. He said, Mario, talk to the guys about Pedro. Who?
True. It's worth a shot, maybe. So Pedro was actually in the squad as well for the World Cup. He didn't get to play many games. I think he came in like 2-3 opportunities. He's a very tall guy, very strong, physically strong, good header, good positioning. He has skill, although being super tall and kind of clumsy at sometimes. He's very skilled. He even scored like a bicycle kick goal last season. So he's a very good player, dude. Palmeiras tried to hire him because last season he was mostly he was a sub at Flamengo, and people were saying that his talents were being wasted there because he deserved to have more, time in the first squad. So Palmeiras was actually looking for a center forward. We tried to hire him. Flamengo asked for like millions and millions over what he's actually worth. And honestly, I'm gonna say Pedro is better than Wood. That's for sure. He's a very good player.
But I think Ez is better than Wood.
That's a low bar.
Well, he's 20.
Mario.
Fernando's saying he's 25. Sorry, Ez, go on.
Okay, stop trying to take other people's players and leave yours alone. We know what you're doing.
But Mario, just out of interest, because it's one of the things that I've heard mentioned quite a bit recently, how we get these players at such bargain prices, and then obviously if they're great, they go for 5-6 times more than what we originally played. Off the top of your head, what's the highest transfer figure for a Brazilian player bought from one club to another in Brazil? What's your transfer record, national transfer record?
It'll be the kid, the 16-year-old, surely.
Yeah, it's a little leggy. I'm not sure if I understood your question 100%. Are you asking at the moment what's the most expensive player in Palmeiras?
No,
that's a better question.
Transferred between Brazilian clubs.
But yeah, in the Brazilian league, what's the highest transfer fee that's been paid for a player within your league?
The last one that I can recall, I don't know the actual amount, but Neymar was signed by Barcelona by a fairly gigantic amount. We just sold Endrick. He's 16 years old, so he cannot even go to Europe yet. He's going to have to wait until he's 18 in 2024. Madrid signed him for 72 million euros. So that was a good deal. I still think Endrick was worth a little bit more because of the talent that he has. He's a very good prospect. He's super young, so he has a lot to grow. But right now, honestly, I can't see any Brazilian players like that are worth shitloads of money. The thing is, go ahead.
I was just saying, Mario. Simon's asking, what about in Brazil? Like
that's
from
what I
club
meant,
to
actually.
club.
Yeah, from club to club within your own domestic league.
From between Brazilian clubs. Sorry, guys, it's a little hard to understand because
it's cool, man. And Ez doesn't know how to articulate a question anyway. So.
I'm just trying to decipher because it keeps lagging a little bit. So I think Palmeiras offered something around, I would say 30 to 40, even 50 million Brazilian currency for Pedro, but it didn't go through. It's usually not that much. We usually like it's between 5 and 15 on that ballpark. And I'm talking about Brazilian currency, Brazilian reais, not euros or dollars.
Lucas
or
is saying Arascaria.
So this is another very good player from Flamengo, Arrascaeta. That's what I said. Misspelling there, but it's all good. Arrascaeta. So he's a CAM. He's basically like a midfielder, very attacking player, and he's fantastic. He also played the World Cup for Uruguay.
Right. Okay. Two quick things before we carry on. Just before we carry on, two quick things. There's like 170 odd of you in here, 36 likes. Please, if you don't mind, take a second and hit that like. But yeah, look how angry you just made this grumpy old Red. Oh, look at that face. So quick. Hit those likes. Hit those likes.
Get it pressed.
The second thing is, this is the most knowledgeable, best English-speaking Palmeiras YouTuber there is. Show him some love. His YouTube channel is linked to the title. Please just give it a quick click and give him a subscribe. Loads of you went and subscribed to him last time, and I'm sure Mario wants to, give you all that love for it. If you haven't, and it's the first time you're seeing Mario on the show, I mean, how fantastic is his English? How fantastic is his knowledge, even on Forest and things like that? It's just brilliant. And thank you again, Mario, for taking the time to be with us. Well, please do go and show Mario some love on his YouTube channel. And Omar is even making it easier for you. Just click the link that's being put in there. And just very quickly, finally, on the poll, do you trust Wayne? 20% of you have said yes, 45 have said no, and 35 said they are still undecided. So I'm going to close that poll. Very, very interesting. I want to move on to the next question from the chat, and it comes from Kestrel. All of our three Brazilians are left-footed. Is this a norm in Brazil or just coincidence? Is there a lot of left-footed players in Brazil? Because I was noticing that as well. Oh, yeah.
Well, in terms of numbers, comparison between right-footed or left-footed, I have no idea, to be honest. But it's a common knowledge in Brazil that left-footers. So if you're left-footed and you have ability, you're gonna just shine because left-footers are more skilled than right-footed players. If that's clear.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm left-footed, so it's kind of I'm kind of biased in that sense. I'm not a great player, but I mean, Scarpa has a poisonous left foot. Danilo, apart from being the destroyer and like the box-to-box player, and it can play as a CDM depending on who you play him with. He can perform in both roles, but I mean, you can't go wrong with a skilled left-footed player, right? Like we can see by Lionel Messi. So, I mean, left-footed players are always more skilled, and I'm biased, but yeah, that's true.
There were times yesterday when the ball came across when Danilo was in midfield, and he just, like, in one movement, just turned and swept the ball in one movement with pace. You know what I mean? And it's just, like, fabulous to watch. Can I ask a quick question to Mario? So it's another serious one. You know that, obviously, this shirt, the championship winning team, who wore number 5 at the time in this shirt?
Wow, you got me there, Ant. I'm gonna have to do some research while you guys, talk about something else. I can definitely number 5, dude. I think his name was I think it was Arouca. Yeah, he was he played for Santos as well for Fluminense, if I'm not mistaken. But I think it was.
I'm sure old Gamer will remember, and the rest of the other Palmeiras fans. Yeah. So what year was that shirt?
What year was the shirt? Was it 2015? 2015. Right. Okay.
2015.
So I'm guessing that he must have been a decent player because whoever bought, because this is not brand new, right? But they had number 5 put on the back, so he must have been a decent player. That's why I asked.
He was a good player. Don't get me wrong. Like, he was a little bit older when he joined Palmeiras. His prime was actually when he was playing for Santos back in 2010. I think even 2011 when Santos won the Libertadores Cup. Arouca was in the squad. Pele. And but Arouca was a very good player. He was one of the I think he was playing as a CDM as well. As does Danilo. So number 5 is usually the CDM here in Brazil.
Yeah. I was hoping that Danilo was number 5. I realized he wasn't, but never mind.
He would have been like 2. Okay. Old Gamer stepping up, saying Thiago Santos.
Could have been Thiago Santos, but I think it was that was in 2016. I need to double check the facts. Thiago Santos was actually a good player as well. Same level as Arouca, I believe. Yeah, it's in that ballpark.
I'm guessing, having won the championship, they're all pretty decent players.
That's true. No, we had a good team. We had a good squad that year, and it was actually the first, maybe the year that opened up so many opportunities for Palmeiras to keep winning. So, I thought it was an Ireland cheer.
Bloody hell, Bobby! Bloody hell. Right. Can I ask you a serious question about Danilo? And I'm going to ask this on behalf of Dino, our FFTV high press guy. He's been doing a lot of research into him, and he feels that Danilo, and Dino, if I misquote you, I'm sorry, but he feels Danilo will probably start at CDM, but Cooper will struggle to hold him in that anchor position, and that Danilo will end up becoming almost a box to box, whether Cooper likes it or not. He will have that tendency to want to go forward. Is Dino right in what he's saying about that, Mario? Is the full holding CDM position like a Partey or a Casemiro not really him, and will maybe his enthusiasm and his youngness and lack of experience force him into just getting attracted to attacking? Dino, hopefully I've represented that right for you, buddy.
I think honestly he can do that as long as he adapts to the game style, to the gameplay proposed by you guys, by your manager. So the thing is, he is very young, so sometimes he's very what's the word for it? He wants to do more, so he doesn't stick to his position. He would do that here in Palmeiras, but he always had someone to cover for him, because I remember Abel used to bring in the left back to cover for Danilo's absence in the midfield when he was going up and trying to build the play, the attacking play. So he can definitely do that, but because he's young, he's very willing to show that he's good. You know, Brazilians are always trying to show their skills, but yeah, he can definitely do that. He's a very good, he has good tackling time, although he commits a lot of fouls, like I told you on our first conversation. As he improves his mentality and his physical skills in England, I'm sure he's going to try, the Cooper is going to try to make him stay behind and act as a CDM, and he can definitely do that. He has the quality to do that, but I think that would be a little bit of a waste if you don't let him go a little bit upwards and towards the attack. You're going to miss some quality when constructing, when building the attacking play.
Yeah, because I think the question is not that has he got a quality, but has he got the discipline to stay in that position? Because at the moment we're playing a 4-3-3 with the 3 in the middle, with 1 holding and 2 with a little bit more freedom. Has he got the discipline to sit in that holding position, or would that just be a waste of his talent? Because I do believe that he is better being given a bit more freedom. I saw him on the left side of the. I think we did kind of switch to a 2. Did we go with 2 in midfield yesterday, guys, or did we still stick
a little bit? It got a little messy, didn't it? Yeah,
it got a little bit messy, but he was certainly playing more on the left-hand side of the middle 2 or 3, linking up again, like I mentioned, with Scarpa and Aurier on that side. So I would like to see him be given a bit more freedom, but I think what Cooper is trying to do is give Freuler a bit more freedom, and for that to work, he needs a disciplined number 5 or number 6, whatever number you want to give him, but the holding CDM.
6,
do you think, Mario, that he's got the discipline to hold that position?
Just before you answer that, Mario, Ben, this is a cracking question, Ben. If you can chuck that in the Q&A, and if anyone's got any specific questions, while we got Mario on, let's take advantage of his knowledge and everything else like that. But Ben, if you can chuck that in, I promise we'll come to all the questions. There's a few in there that we'll get through. Sorry, Mario, go ahead.
No, it's all good. Regarding this question by Ben, I think he's not very physically gifted. He's a very lean player, so he knows how to tackle, he knows how to defend, but that would give him that would take him out of his comfort zone. Even though he's good with that, he can do that as well. But that would be kind of wasting a little bit of his vision and his quality passing the ball towards the left winger and right winger, whatever. But he can do that. And regarding easy as questions, Danilo has the discipline. He has the discipline, of course, but he has to learn a little bit more of the English and Premier League culture before you guys actually come up with preconceptions of how he plays. He is a good player. He has the willpower to do well in Europe. So he's super young. He can make a lot of money. He can play for the giants of Europe. I'm not saying Nottingham is not one of them.
He already is.
Don't get me wrong.
2 stars, man. 2 stars.
Yeah, 2 stars. It's not everyone has those. So I mean, Danilo is young. You have to give him time. Depends on who you play next to him. Of course, he can do both tasks, both roles, CDM or CM. I've seen him doing both of these roles in Palmeiras, and he did fantastic. But I prefer him as a CDM, as a proper CDM. But let him go a little bit upwards and forward till the center line, whatever. At least he can find some spaces where other defensive midfielders can't. So it's a good opportunity to test him as a CDM, and then as a CM. Whoever plays with him has to complement and adapt to his play style as well. But that could work for sure.
Can I ask quickly about his passing? Because something that caught my eye yesterday was how crisp his passing was. Is he renowned as a decent passer, or was it just the cold weather helping him out yesterday? I don't know. Is he a good passer of the ball in general?
He is. Yeah. Like I said on the first broadcast, when we scored our goal in the 2020 Libertadores Cup final, Danilo got the ball probably pretty close to our box, and he gave that poisonous cross towards the right winger with such quality and precision that the right winger simply dominated the ball or controlled the ball, crossed it in, and it was headed in at the 99th minute of the second half. I remember just going crazy and crying for 30 minutes straight. So Danilo does have that quality, man. We remember him for that as well. So like, he's not a CAM, a very like I'm not going to compare him to whatever Rafael Veiga, which is a good player from Palmeiras, but I'm not going to talk about him because you guys are him as well. You know, I'm handing out names. I'm handing out names here. People are going to be so pissed.
Honestly,
at me, but
Mario, they must be watching. Honestly, you spoke about so well about Danilo, and within a week we signed him.
It's your fault. It's your fault. Yeah.
Yeah, because Wolverine said the other day he'll get onto Marianakis, but I think he needs to get onto Mario Nakis and get a few more deals.
One of the things that I've found really encouraging, Mario, is that our manager, Steve Cooper, seems to really like these three Brazilian guys. You know what I mean? You know, we've got there's training videos, and he's got his arm around them, and he's laughing with them, and he's stuck Scarpa straight in, he's stuck Danilo straight in. I find that really encouraging, because a lot of managers, especially if they're not the manager that scouted them, a lot of managers will say, "Oh yeah, we've got to settle him in, keep him on the bench." You know, not quite sure, but he seems to really have bought into this Brazilian setup that we're doing, which is really encouraging for us, I think.
That's correct. And I saw his interview, his post-match analysis, and I remember him saying that he wants to make him feel more integrated and welcome to the squad, to the city. So that's a good thing, and that's actually what made the biggest difference in Palmeiras last couple of seasons, because Abel Ferreira, which is the Portuguese manager, he did just that. I mean, even in 2002 when we won the World Cup, Scolari, which actually was it's one of the greatest managers Palmeiras ever had as well. He created that Scolari family, that Brazilian family inside the dressing room, which made the team actually go for it and win the World Cup. And so did Abel Ferreira here at Palmeiras. So if Cooper does that and welcome all the three Brazilians and make them feel integrated, they're definitely going to perform even better. That's for sure. And Brazilians are very warm people, and we're very affectionate people, and we like to feel like people like us, and people actually care about us. So if you show him that love, he's gonna give that back to you in quality and giving his like 100% every time inside the pitch.
It's a big thing with Steve Cooper, that is making the guys feel a family, making them feel together. And I think one of the reasons that Logi initially struggled, because he had nobody, didn't speak the language, he had nobody.
Cafu.
Well, apart from Cafu, we've got a guy called Cafu. Not that Cafu, a different Cafu. But now the other guys have come in. He started, all of a sudden, Logi's starting to perform way up there, and that can't be coincidence that he's got some fellow Brazilians in now. I guess to go around and see each other, so it's all good stuff. And that interview you were on about with Steve Cooper, the one bit I liked most of all was when I don't know if it's the same one you saw, but the interviewer said to him, "Oh, and you brought Danilo on," and Steve Cooper went, "Yeah, it's good, isn't he?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a little.
I remember he did that. He said that in his interview, right? He's
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
You can
yeah,
see it. When the ball first came to him, he was, like I said, a little bit insecure. But 2-3 minutes after that, he was already controlling and putting his head up and just looking for the best play. And that's gonna develop even further with that kind of environment that Cooper, like you said, wants to create inside the dressing room. Yeah. So that's only going to bring you guys good things, that for sure.
And we touched on his discipline. I actually did see good discipline from him, because we were giving away a lot of silly free kicks, but I didn't see Danilo give any away yesterday, and he was quite disciplined in his tackles. He didn't go in for anything that he couldn't get to, so he was very disciplined from that point of view. But just another point, do you think the guys behind the scene at Forest had an idea that we were going to be going for some Brazilian players? Because if you have a look at the kit we played in yesterday, surely that gives you a few makes you feel good, because it's pretty much a Brazil kit, isn't it?
And that's the question from Simon as well, saying, what do you think of our kit? Yeah. Do you like those colors?
I mean, of course, as a Brazilian, you gotta love that, dude. And that's definitely gonna make them feel a little more, like they always want to join the national team. And Scarpa had his opportunity in a while back, but just for like friendly matches, nothing like super competitive. Yeah. And Danilo also had some chances before the World Cup, but he didn't get called up to the World Cup. Lodgy was part of the national team for a brief time, I believe. So given that yellow and blue, given that yellow and blue, they're gonna feel good at it in it and perform even better. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I just want to get a little analytical. Sorry, before we do, just because I want to bring a different element to the stream. Mary, I hope you don't mind. Maybe if I can just bring this up, I'll make it a little bigger so the guys in the chat can see it. This is the heat map from Danilo's placement yesterday, where he had his touches, and they all seem to be mainly focused in that middle third of the pitch, and quite central as well. There's a bit down, obviously, towards the bottom. Would this be a typical Danilo area of performance that you would expect to see or saw during Palmeiras? And guys in the chat, what do you think of like these his heat map here? Is that something quite typical of where he would normally play?
Yeah, I think that's it. That's how he moves around the pitch most of the times when he was playing for us. Yeah, I mean, you can see him coming back a little bit to get the ball as well, to kind of try to start that creating the attacking that transition. But yeah, that's mainly where you're going to see him play. And of course, like I said, depending on where Cooper plays him, who he plays next to him, he will be able to go even forward and try to do more things attacking wise. So yeah, that's from what I can see in the heat map here. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yep, cool. And the thing I want to ask you about, maybe you can give us some insights if you don't mind, is the formation that Palmeiras plays. Is it a 4-2-3-1 that you tend to line up, or what's the default day in, day out formation? And where does he sit in that? Because a lot of, from what I've seen and what I heard, even though he's left-footed, does he prefer the right-hand side himself playing on that, or do you tend to see him on the left-hand side?
So yeah, Scarpa prefers to play on the right side, middle towards the right side, where he can actually even cut it towards the middle and kick it, because you're going to see him score quite a few goals that way, dude. When he has the ball on his left foot, just opens some room and finds that nice curve towards the angle and top corners. So yeah, that happened a lot at Palmeiras. So that's bound to happen at Forest as well. And regarding Palmeiras play style, Abel likes to make a little bit of a transition when you have the ball and when you don't have the ball. So when you don't have the ball, we have four players at the defense. So Rocha, Gomes, Murilo, and Piqueires. So the right back and left back. So but when we don't have the ball, Piqueires kind of transitions towards like another center back to cover for the left side. And the right back goes forward to support the attacking. So it's usually a 4-2-3-1. I think that would be the ideal, but you can never know with Abel. He always changes his
Fluid.
his tactics. So it's kind of hard to get that 100%. But yeah, that's usually how Palmeiras plays.
And then would Danilo sit in the 2 in the midfield at the back there?
Yeah.
And
so
what's
he
his
has
preferred
usually-
side?
For Danilo, honestly, I see him moving left and right when he's defending, and when he moves forward, I think he tends to go to the left. But that's not like a rule, so he can go either way. Because when he played for Palmeiras, he had Zé Rafael playing with him, which is he is actually a CM and very attacking player. So he's very physically strong, and he has good quality passing the ball, and also breaking the opposition closer to their box. So that's what Abel tries to put that pressure all the time. So Danilo would stay a little bit more, and Zé Rafael would go forward with the attacking midfielders and the wingers as well. So yeah,
because he's not a great finisher, is he? From what you were telling us last time and what I've watched of him, he still needs some work on the kind of final third of it, doesn't he?
Yeah. So finishing from outside the box is not very, very good. He scored, I think, one goal when he was doing that in Palmeiras, but I can't remember for sure. But in corner kicks, when Gustavo Scarpa it's on the corner, so he is very good with his head. So he's not a tall, like super tall guy, but he has good positioning. He's very he has that willpower. He's willing to actually dive towards the ball to actually score. So I mean, you can see him score quite a few times as well. I'm sure about that.
Yeah. And you wanted to jump in there?
No, I was going to say to Mario, when teams are like playing some fancy football in England, the crowd sings Brazil. It's just like watching Brazil. And with our 3 Brazilians and our Brazil kit, it is like watching Brazil.
I mean, like I said, I didn't watch the entire match, but it was a good game on the second half from you guys, and that's definitely even that jersey actually brings more Brazilian fans to watch Forest play as well. So I mean, of course, we love that yellow jersey, so that keep rocking them, and we're gonna keep supporting you guys. That's for sure.
I like to make,
but don't find any more Palmeiras players, please. Please.
Well, you mentioned, you got me excited when you went through your back 4, and you mentioned your centre back again. And I was thinking, I remember that was that's a no-go zone. I won't even ask you about him. I'm not gonna just in case Marinakis is
the best player we have right now at Palmeiras is called Rafael Navarro. So you can take him.
We know about Navarro.
They've tried it on me. They've tried it on me before.
Yeah,
he's very cheap, so it's very good quality cost.
But seriously, Mario, your mates must have seen you do this show with us last time, and obviously you saw Danilo straight after. They must have been ripping you about, but I bet you had a load of abuse.
I got some. I told you guys I got very positive feedback from most of my friends, but some of them were like, "Come on, dude. Why are you doing that to us?" And actually, there's a fun fact. Palmeiras is currently we went through to the finals of the Copa São Paulo, which is the biggest youth academy competition in the world. So a lot of good talents like Neymar, Endrick, Ronaldo, whatever. Every good Brazilian player that you see, they came up from the Copa São Paulo. We call it Copinha. So do you remember that diminutive? So Copa, Copinha. So it's the small cup. We call it the small cup.
Yeah.
So this is it's a competition where you find a lot of smaller clubs from small cities in Brazil, so it's a very good opportunity for them to show their quality. And we actually we played in the quarterfinals against a team that's called Floresta. Floresta in Portuguese, translated to English, is forest.
Yeah.
And actually, their first shield, their first symbol was very much identical to your symbol, to Forest
copycats
emblem. Right
I think I've seen them. Yeah, I think I've seen them.
Yeah, so we actually
destroyed them. Green, isn't it? It's a green tree,
exactly.
isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, I've seen
So
it.
we actually destroyed them 5-0, and Palmeiras says this is because you signed a bunch of our players, so we destroy them now. You're gonna pay for it.
Yeah, but you don't want to do that because then we might need some more players if you do that. That's not a good idea.
Dude, I mean, it's funny because it's quite a coincidence, right? That we destroyed them 5-0. Was super nice, very good match. And Palmeiras fans were kind of playing that joke because some of my friends are very much pissed off at Forest, dude. I'm not gonna lie. They kind of hate you guys now. They hate the team, of course, not you guys. But well, that's what happens, dude. That's a world. That's a football.
It's fair enough. It's fair. Do you know we've got an undercover agent who lives in Brazil. I don't know if he's in the chat now, but it's one of our members, and he messaged me telling me, "Yeah, all these Palmeiras fans coming on the channel telling you we love Forest, look after our players." He goes, "I was in the gym with them the other day, and they were swearing and cussing Forest down left, right, and centre."
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, can I ask you to pass this message on to your friends then? We wanted to buy those players. Palmeiras decided to sell those players, and those players decided to come.
It's business, baby. It's business.
We didn't force them at gunpoint to come.
We cannot be mad at Forest. We have to be mad at our president and our managers who actually decided to sell the player. When it comes to Scarpa, it was his personal decision. Towards July last year, he already came forward and said, "No, I'm not gonna renew my contract. I'm gonna move to Forest at the end of the year because I need to play the Premier League at least once. That's my biggest dream. So whatever." And we understood that, and we were not mad at him. But we were pretty sad to see him go. But Danilo is a very, very good prospect that we had to play for Palmeiras for the next 2-3 years. Then you guys came forward with a decent amount of money. I think it was even less than what he's actually worth. I
16
already. To me, I wouldn't even begin to negotiate for less than 28-30 mil.
Well, can I ask you on that point? Because it's something that I don't know if you guys know Tim Vickery out there in South America. He's like our guru in England. Well, I don't know how good he is, but he's the only one who seems to talk about South American football. He said that
crap.
Did he?
And he speaks very good Portuguese. I know him.
But what he said, crap in every language.
wait, hold on. What he said was that he thinks that Palmeiras panicked over the signing because they didn't get to sell him last year. And most of the players that leave Brazil will leave before the age of 20, sometimes usually in their teens, to come across to Europe. And that's when their stock is actually higher when it comes to coming across, either if it's to Portugal where they usually end up or what have you. And he's saying that he feels because Danilo reached 21, that was part of the reason we were able to pick him up cheaper. I don't know how true it is, or well, I'm sure he's well sourced. He seems to know some things. But was there any sense of the panic in that because he'd reached that age that suddenly becomes old in comparison to the wonder young kids in there? Do you think that had any bearing? Because I still feel it's quite cheap. I think we got a really good deal there.
That could have been the case, but I don't believe that's actually 100% true. He is getting older, of course, but the biggest risk is that on a few opportunities in the past, we held from selling players, but then they picked up an injury or something, and they started not performing that well, and then we had to sell them for a smaller amount or whatever. But I mean, yeah, that could have been the case, dude, but I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. I still think he's a very young player. He has a lot of potential to improve even more. So that amount was super low, in my opinion. Like I said, 28-30 would be the ballpark to start talking, because when it comes like in 2 years, if he performs well, you guys are going to sell him for, I don't know, 40-50 mil to like a top.
I want to keep him.
I want to.
Yeah, I don't.
He's committed. No. This is you're spot on, Mario, because we've got him for 6.5 year contract, which I thought was crazy in itself. That takes him to well within his prime. Yeah, and even if he isn't the real deal this year, in a year or two's time, he's going to be unbelievable. And I think it's good business from our side, and I'm still a little shocked that you sold him. Was he still? Did he still have time on his contract? How long was left on his contract? Do you know, with Palmeiras? Was it? I don't think he was coming to the last 6 months or anything, was he?
No. It wasn't. It wasn't. The contract was still good. I think he had 1 or 2 extra years in there.
Yeah.
But honestly, it beats me, dude. I don't know why 2 years left. You see,
2 years,
I'm not that dumb. So I still remember a few things. But yeah, like I said, they're not going to convince me that this was a good deal for us. It was for Danilo because he wanted to go play the Premier League as well, and now he had his friend Scarpa in there, and Lodge, who's also Brazilian, speaks Portuguese, so he knew that he would find a way of adapting to the city even more easily with these players there. So I mean, it was good for him, but it was a bad deal for us. And
it was heavily linked with Arsenal in the summer, wasn't it?
It was
for a lot more.
For
way
a lot more. Yeah.
For closer to what you were saying there, Mario, close to 30-40 million. So is there some truth in what Tim Vickery's saying, but it was a panic sale from your point of view?
Yeah.
As you're in charge, I'm going to the loo. I'll be right back.
Sure.
We were about to sell him to Arsenal. We had another offer last minute from Monaco, who wanted to give one of their players in exchange for Danilo and more money, like a certain amount. But when I was speaking to Wolverine last time, Scarpa was the big deal breaker in this situation. He was the one who actually made Danilo choose coming to Forest and playing the Premier League. But that's true. We were going to sell him for over 35 million, and we ended up selling him for less than 20. So that was a crappy deal because of this kind of rush to actually find something that was good for Palmeiras' bank account.
But I actually think it's a very smart move on his part, because he's coming to a club where he knows somebody in Scarpinha. It's coming to a club where there's another brilliant Brazilian player there in Lodge. Also, he's coming to a club where, let's be honest, the spotlight is not going to be on him as much as it would be if he was at Arsenal. The pressure on him at Arsenal would be absolutely outrageous. I mean, the top of the table, you know what I mean? So coming to our club, it actually does make some sense. He's very young. In a couple of years' time, listen, we're like Palmeiras. We've taken him off you. Somebody will come and take him off us. That's football. We're not deluded. We know that
we're not one of the top.
In 2 years' time, Real Madrid come in for him. He's going to go. So I think it's a smart move for his next stage of development.
I agree, 100%. You were spot on there. This is why I'm telling you that it was a good deal for him to sign for Forest and have Scarpa helping him. Even because Scarpa speaks English very well, so it would be a good opportunity for him to actually adapt better than he would adapt at Arsenal. Even though they have Brazilian players as well, but that pressure is not constant. And 100% of the time, that's for sure. Yeah,
he'll play for us. He might not even get in that Arsenal side.
Yeah, and a couple of things. I mean, one thing we can guarantee is that we're going to love the players. We're going to. The Forest fans are really going to take to these two, especially. And the other point is that obviously that Scarpa being here, they must have been fairly good mates when they were playing together, obviously at Palmeiras. That must have played a big part in him wanting to come here, because I assume that you'd watched his interview in Portuguese that was put out when he joined Forest, and he was I watched the translation, but you can never tell how good the translation is. But basically, he was saying that he wanted to come to Forest anyway, but it was Scarpa that pushed him over the line and got the deal across. And how instrumental do you think Scarpa was in bringing him here? Because despite he could have got Palmeiras could have got twice as much selling him to somebody else, but did he really push to come to Forest, and was Scarpa one of the big draws for that?
Yeah. So in the end, like I said, Scarpa was the deal breaker. He was the one who actually convinced Danilo. I'm super mad at Scarpa because of that. I understand his reasons for joining Forest and playing the Premier League, but he didn't have to convince Danilo to go for such a small amount of money. And that was a mistake by our directors, our president, our managers, whatever. But yeah, like I said, Danilo wanted to go to Europe as well. He felt like it was time to do so. At the moment, he is at his prime, but he's going to develop and evolve even more. He's only 21. Can you imagine when he turns like 25, 26? He's going to be at his physical prime, and mentally he's going to be even better because he's now playing at an European level, which is way more competitive and developed than the Brazilian competitions, the South American competitions. So, dude, I can only imagine what Danilo is going to become in 2, 3, 4 years. It's going to be fantastic. And you guys did like a hell of a deal. So you're going to sell him for twice or even 3 times the amount that you paid for him.
Well, we're hoping, like Wolverine alluded to, we're hoping that we're one of those top teams in that time, and we're going to be able to hold on to those players. But you know what it's like. I mean, even you can be the top of the Premier League, but somebody like Real Madrid and Barcelona come in for these South American players, and it's usually enough to turn their heads, isn't it? But thank you. I mean, you kind of like really helped us understand what we're getting, and I think we're all even more excited having spoken to you, Mario. So thank you for your insight, mate.
I want to, if you don't mind, Mario,
my pleasure,
keep you for a couple more minutes. I know you're busy. We've got a few questions from the chat. So, Omar, if you can bring in questions directed at Mario from the Q&A, and we'll go through those. We'll do some quick fire ones. So Sci-Fi saying, Mario, if you could choose someone for us to buy to weaken your opponents, who would it be in either centre back or striker preferred?
As a striker, I would say look at Flamengo's squad. Flamengo is considered to have the best squad at the moment in Brazil. It's basically like a national team. They say they could play the World Cup, but that's bullshit. They're very full of themselves. They think they're the best, even though we beat them when we played against them in the final of the Libertadores in 2021. So they said, no, it's going to be 4-0. We're going to destroy you guys. They ended up losing, and we became 3-time champions. So they have to suck it first and foremost. I have nothing against Flamengo. Flamengo is not my rival. Flamengo is from Rio de Janeiro. In São Paulo, we have Palmeiras, Corinthians, São Paulo, and Santos. Those are my 3 rivals. Flamengo, we have a very good moment against them because we have 2 great squads, so it's great competition. We're actually going to play them at the final of the Supercopa, so the Super Cup. So the champion of the Brazilian League, which is us, and the champion of the Brazilian Cup. So we're going to face each other on January 27. Very good game to watch for you guys. It's going to be a good one. But I would say Gabriel Barbosa, which we call him Gabigol, he already played for Porto in Portugal, if I'm not mistaken, and he had a moment at Internazionale Milan. So he actually went to Europe. Oh, I have a guess here.
Oh,
So Gabriel Barbosa is a very good player. You can look at him. Pedro, like someone mentioned in the comments, I would sign him. Like for sure, dude. Even he's not that expensive right now, so I would definitely look into him. He's a very good player. As a center back, I have no idea. Honestly, Flamengo doesn't have the best. They have Davi Luiz now. Would you like Davi Luiz? He's not a very good player in my opinion. I don't like him.
Sideshow Bob.
So yeah, and I'm not gonna say Palmeiras has good center backs because you guys are gonna start trying to sign them as well. So
I forgot his name. It was which one was it?
So
someone took notes for me last time.
His name is Navarro.
Navarro.
Stop trying about Navarro.
Anybody but Navarro.
All right, let's move on to the next question from Kane, who says, what's Marcos Leonardo like from Santos, Mario? Young striker, would love to see him in the Premier League. Is he a good player?
Good player. Good player. A lot of room to improve and grow even further. Santos is not doing very well at the moment. They have one of the toughest moments in their history. Santos because of Pelé, because of Robinho, Neymar as well. So they always have fantastic players. At the moment, they're not doing so well, but Marcos Leonardo is I think, the best player they have right now. And he's super young, very good player to sign. That would be a good one to look at. Yeah,
fantastic. All right, let's bring the next question. Simon F saying, Mario, tell us about the São Paulo game today, mate. How are you feeling, and should you have won it?
How many Brazilian, viewers you guys have? How many Brazilian viewers you guys have? And do you think that if I curse in Portuguese, you're gonna get banned or whatever?
You go for it, bro. You say what you need to say. Guys, if you're Brazilian in the chat, say me so we know how many of the Brazilians we've got in here. We've got our undercover agent here, Martin. Good to see you, buddy. He's the one who went to the gym in there. There's a few more in there. Fernando's saying Victor Roque.
Victor Roque plays for Atlético Paranaense. He's a very young player. He's currently, I think, I don't know if the competition is over right now, but he's playing for the national under 20s team right now. And he's very good player. But yeah, regarding today's match, I feel like it wasn't a good one. It wasn't a good performance. But the other team, the opposition, São Paulo, they're a joke, dude. They're a freaking joke. Every time they go play against us in our turf at Allianz Parque, every 2 minutes you see a player throwing himself on the ground because they cannot compete. They cannot compete against us. Our team is way better. And São Paulo was a symbol of like the Brazilian success between 2004 and until 2009. They won 3 Brazilian leagues consecutively, back to back, and 1 Libertadores Cup. They were the first ones to be like 3-time champions with Santos of the Libertadores Cup. So at one point, one of his presidents was starting to joke about Palmeiras because we were not doing well. And he says Palmeiras was becoming a tiny club. And now they're the tiny club, because we're winning everything and they're not winning shit. So I'm just ranting right now. So
we're used to it. We're used to it. Don't worry. Don't worry. You're one of the boys now, Mario. You rant away.
The swear words.
Grumpy old Brazilians, mate.
so exactly. Like, I mean, I'm very. I have hot blood. Like us Brazilians have hot blood, so we like to curse a lot. I'm not going to do that here because there's no reason for it. But São Paulo.
If it makes you feel better, bro, do it. We got him.
Ok, então vai tomar no cu, São Paulo, bando de filho da puta, time pequeno do caralho, time pequeno, apequenou, vai se fuder, aqui é Palmeiras, porra. Okay, thank you.
You got it off your chest?
That didn't need any translation, did it?
But Martin, you want to translate that for us? Let us know in the chat.
That doesn't
it's good to get it off your chest every now and again.
Yeah, you can see that it wasn't very friendly, gestures and whatnot. Well, like I said, São Paulo came to our turf, and they always try to play as little as possible. They want to hold the ball. The ball was stopped for 30%, 40% of the match. And that pisses me off, dude, because we try to build something and they don't want to let us, do anything. They throw themselves at the ground, on the floor, whatever, and they keep rolling around like Neymar does. And they're, in 5 seconds, they're up again and running. So we actually had a penalty that should be awarded to us, and it wasn't. And VAR didn't even call the ref to see what happened. So yeah, dude, I'm super pissed off. The referees in Brazil are a joke, actually. So that's my biggest. That's what
Luke is saying.
Angry
How
moment.
do you guys see the Brazilian refs?
Did you say son of a prostitute, young man?
Well, I don't know. I get loads of Brazilian comments here, and I'm going to bring them on screen. Screw it, I don't actually care. What's Gabriel saying here? Do I want to know?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I think my screen's frozen, so I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
I think he's frozen. We'll never know what Gabriel said.
They will ring. You could always, say it out loud for him with your brilliant Portuguese accent.
All right, here we go. Gabriel said, "Veia tomar nosso mi pickle."
Oh, spot on.
It's like being on the.
Go on then, You do it.
But it's a funny language, Portuguese is. It's really it's like
I'm not even going to
Spanish and Dutch. It's really weird.
Stop making any excuses and say it. Just say it.
Well, it's gone, hasn't it? It's gone now. I can't say it.
It's gone. We just had an anonymous donation. Should I say? Just donated £20. Anonymous. That is so generous of you. Thank you so much, buddy.
Shout
It will
yourself out.
go straight into the hamster for the upgrades that we tried to do at the start of the show, and hopefully for the next stream that will all be there. Oh, that's what it means.
Well, somebody's put Q is
Oh my
off.
god, man! Oh, this is getting X-rated. Hey, our beloved Portuguese, our beloved Brazilian people in the chat. How good was my accent? Did I get it right? Did I get it right?
Don't
But
even
Anonymous,
be
thank
quiet.
you so much, buddy. Thank you so
Spot on.
much. Okay, I think. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed Mario. I don't know where he's gone,
I
but
think
I
he's gone to do 10 Hail Marys.
No.
Hail Marys. I can't even get it.
It's
I
got
hope
to
you did
kick some
enjoy
more
that.
holes in the door, I think.
Hey, Brett, it weren't that bad. It's better than ants. What I want to do then, I want to talk about a couple of other things in the game because I'm sorry, I just get lost listening to Mario. He's fantastic,
he's
guys.
brilliant.
Please show him some love and go
Definitely.
and subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. And if you wanna see more of Mario on here, we're happy to bring him on. We just need to buy some more of the Palmeiras players to keep him coming in. So Marinakis, if you're listening, here he goes. Here he goes. He's back. He's back.
There he goes. Mario Nakis is back.
Hey, welcome back, bro. It's all that swearing. It's all that swearing.
YouTube didn't want me to swear.
Yeah.
So I told you guys.
We've had everybody translating. You're a very naughty boy.
Yeah, we've had a few translations, my friend. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I was just ranting. So you guys gave me the opportunity. I appreciate it. And I'm sorry.
You're in the
I
right
apologize.
place, bro.
I apologize.
You're in the right place.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are all the questions from the chat. I've got one more for you from Simon. He wants to know what the capacity of your stadium is. Is it quite big? Is it about 38 or
40? Today we had 40,300 something. Yeah, so it depends on the configuration. It's a multi-use stadium, so they use it. It's like a full arena. They use it for concerts as well. So it depends on which sections of the stands are open. So today I think we had over almost 41,000. Yeah.
41? That's not too bad. Can I ask you like a weird question, right? Because we're a little behind, I think it would be the nice way of putting it, with our training facilities and our backroom facilities and stuff. How good is your like training pitches and things like that at Palmeiras? Is it kind of high tech, top end stuff? And he's nodding away. So would this come as a bit of a shock to Scarpa and to Danilo when they're when they're lacing up in some parks and stuff?
Honestly, you guys can just search online the Palmeiras training rounds. It's considered to be the best in Brazil, European top level. So it's a lot of money invested into that. So yeah, I saw a few pictures, but it's nothing like horrible, dude. You guys have a decent facility as well.
So polite. I love it.
No,
I
dude.
love it.
I'm telling the truth. And like I said, Brazilian players, they're so humble. They come mostly from such poor and humble upbringings that they don't care about that, dude. If you give him like an elastic band, he's going to do whatever he has to do with just that. So no, it's not going to be a big deal, honestly.
You know what?
Do you guys have like an intelligence center or something that looks into like the physiological part of the players?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We have all the technical
that's
side
more
of
than
it,
enough. That's more than enough, dude. So don't worry about that. But yeah, dude, I don't know whoever searched for the images right here. So take a look at Palmeiras training grounds. They're just out of this world. And I've been there.
Well,
I've seen it in person.
A lot of the English young footballers now, unless they've got jacuzzis in their own bedrooms and stuff, they don't want to go to that club. But some of the training facilities at the English Premier League clubs are
Hotels.
Stupendous. Yeah, they've got cinemas, bowling alleys, and acres and acres and acres of land and football pitches to exactly match the stadium pitch. They've got indoor pitches. They're absolutely outstanding. And ours, because we've only just come back up to the Premier League, we're going to have to start to build that because ours is pretty basic by those standards.
Yeah. So I think Palmeiras training grounds, we have like 3 or 4 different turfs. I don't know if you're aware of that, but our stadium, the grass is 50 or I don't know, like 60, 70% artificial and
Yeah,
30% natural.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're trying to emulate that in the training grounds as well. So there's one turf that's identical to the one we have at our stadium, 2 others just full natural grass. And even Palmeiras, I don't think that's true. I think it's fake news. But someone said that we have 2 actually youth academy training grounds. We have another one where they actually want to try to implement like a very old and not very level style of turf, because they want players to adapt to a bad turf, because when they go play at a decent one, they're going to have more quality and they're going to control the ball more easily. I think that's kind of crazy, kind of bullshit, but to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised.
One thing we have got is a good academy. I mean, our academy has just been granted category A status, which means it's one of the top in the country. So our youth setup is really good.
But I mean, Palmeiras' setup is obviously very good from what you've just described there. Does that and you're saying it's way better than anywhere else in Brazil. So in terms of like the playing pitches and so on and so forth, how do they measure up to it? I mean, our Premier League pitches, obviously, you've seen some of them. They're like carpets.
Super
but in general, the pitches out in Brazil, what are they like for the domestic games?
If you take like, first of all, let me just begin with Flamengo has a fantastic training ground as well. So I'm not going to say Palmeiras is actually the best, but by the success that we've been having in the past, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years in the youth academies and in the professionals, that's bound to mean something. It means something. So Flamengo has fantastic training grounds. Corinthians, which is our biggest rival, they do have a very nice training ground as well, but I would say it doesn't compare to what we have right now, and that's translated into trophies, silverware, whatever we've been accumulating in the past few years. But the pitches, if you take Palmeiras, Corinthians, Flamengo, Atlético Mineiro, Internacional, so basically I would say the top 10, top 12 clubs in Brazil, they do have decent turfs. But the rest it's garbage. Pure. If you watch the São Paulo Cup, the one that I mentioned now for the youth academies, the Copinha, you guys are going to be flabbergasted to say the least. You know, you guys are going to find that there's no way someone can play in that. So they actually paint the turf green to mask the holes because of the broadcast.
That's the point that I made about how all the pitches there's no level playing ground there in terms of their pitches. You either become a better player playing on those pitches, or you end up with some sort of nasty injury. But you said there is, and that was the second part of my question. Sorry to go on about it, but can you definitely see a correlation in the improvement in your resources, as in your training facilities and so, and how it's gone on to the success in the youth and the main teams as well? Is there definitely a correlation? Yeah,
it's 100%. It's 100%. That's that affected the morale, the performance, the level, the physiological side of it, the physical part of it as well, the mental part of it. So they actually built a hotel in our training facilities to get the players together before matches and whatnot. So if you take a look at it, it's fantastic. So definitely before we had that, we were not doing very well. Like I mentioned before, between 2002 and 2012, in 2002 and 2012, we got relegated to the second division twice, 2002 and 2012. So it was a very dark moment for Palmeiras. And the former president, Paulo Nobre, he actually took money out of his pocket to make Palmeiras be able to balance its finances. And actually, so he was the one who made everything that's happening today possible. So we're like super thankful for him. And that's it. So it's definitely correlated. If you have good training facilities, that's going to translate it into performance and championships, whatever.
Yeah. Just a couple of quick shout outs. I want to say thank you so much. Our guys are just so generous, mate. Peter, thank you so much for becoming a member and joining the family. We really appreciate it. And Nottingham Now and Then, you're just ridiculous with your support, and you have nothing but love from us. And as always, guys, please go and follow Nottingham Now and Then on Instagram. It is exactly as you read it there, Nottingham_now. _and_den. He's an absolute legend, and thank you so much for your support as always. Mario, we've kept you on for so long, and I do appreciate you coming on, buddy. Before we let you go, I want to remind everyone in the chat, firstly, don't forget to hit the like button, but more importantly, please go and subscribe to Mario's channel. If you guys, especially if you speak Portuguese, I want you to go watch his videos and then come back, give us a little report on the players he really does like. Yeah. And then we'll put in a quick call to the Greek father, and we'll get Marinakis sorting out another couple of deals. And as some of the guys were saying in the chat, we'll even buy their training pitch. It sounds pretty good. So Mary, I want to finish with one final question, right? Before we let you go, I've got to ask this, and a few people have messaged me to ask you this. How much would it cost our Greek father, Marinakis, just to buy the whole of Palmeiras football team? What's Palmeiras worth these days?
Well, Marinakis, you're going to have to die first if you want to do that, or if you're going to have to kill me, because we're not going to let you do that.
What if he bought you? What if he bought Palmeiras as like a feeder club for Nottingham Forest, and he's already got Olympiacos, Nottingham Forest. Why not add Palmeiras to his little?
How much would it cost? Seriously, how much is it worth? How much is it worth?
We're not on the same level as Olympiacos. We're way above them. So it's a different subject there. It's a different subject. So honestly, Wolverine beats me, dude. I have no idea how much it would cost. I'm
just hoping he's got enough.
It will cost my life, because he would have to kill me, literally kill me to do that. I wouldn't let him do that. I would fly from Vancouver to São Paulo or to Nottingham, whatever, to stop him from doing that. That's not gonna happen.
I love the passion. I love it.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, buddy, for your time. We know the time difference is huge, and you taking the time to do it. Gabrielle's saying something. Before you leave us, can you translate that one?
We have Palmeiras has over 20 million fans, so it's worth way more than Olympiacos and those little to medium clubs in Europe. So there's no comparison, dude.
Yeah,
we have 21 million fans. So that already says something, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good base. Yeah, it's sounding more attractive to me by the minute. I don't know about you boys, but that's a lot of Forest shirts.
I wouldn't buy our fans though. Don't buy the fans. Palmeiras fans, they're super annoying most of the times. And sorry guys in the chat here, Palmeiras fans, I'm telling the truth. Palmeiras fans are super annoying. They like to complain about everything. It's the third match of the competition of the season, and they're already saying that Abel Ferreira is terrible, that this player is horrible, that player cannot play for Palmeiras. And I say, chill, guys. It's only the beginning. It's only the beginning. Yeah.
So we're definitely not happy clappers, then, no? We like to.
I mean, when we have to support the team during the games, they're fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Palmeiras, we do know how to support, but outside the pitch, if the player misses a goal, if concedes a penalty or whatever, we already start just pouring into him and saying that he's shite and whatever,
Gabrielle's agreeing with you and saying it's completely true on that front. Guys, I'm begging you, more than subscribing to us, please go and support Mario. He's just such a wonderful guest to have on, and they're just asking you all to come back, and I'm sure Mario will be more than happy to come back and do this again. It's just, I could just sit here and listen to you all day. I really could, but unfortunately, we need to talk about wood, so I don't want to bore you with that one.
You don't want to get bored by that.
Yeah. Good luck with that, dude. Good luck.
Fantastic. Mario, thank you so much for coming in. Guys, while Mario's on his way out, please go and subscribe to his channel. What a gentleman and what a straight talker. We absolutely love him. And what was it? Via Palmeiras?
Vai Palmeiras. But let me just teach you one more, because some of my friends complained. We have an actual chant that we use all the time, but it's in Italian. It's not Portuguese, but it's Avanti Palestra. Avanti Palestra.
Avanti Palestra.
Avanti Palestra. Palmeiras. Thank you very much, guys. It's my pleasure. Thanks everybody again. Anytime you guys want me in, just let me know and I'll work with it.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Mario. Have a
Cheers,
great
guys.
afternoon for you over there, and we appreciate the time as
Appreciate it.
always. Thank
Have
you.
a good one, guys.
Day.
Cheers.
Thank you.
All the best. Oh, I just love him. I just
He's
love how
brilliant.
straight talking he is. He's straight about the fan base he's got there, and so insightful, isn't he? I hope you
He's a
guys
proper fan, isn't he?
enjoyed that. And if you want him
Yeah.
back in, just let us know. I'm happy to have him on every day. Is that good?
Yeah.
And please do show him some love and support. It's always good just to help out these growing YouTubers as well. From Brazilian flair to New Zealand wood. Boys, thoughts. It was to say Keith's all over the place. It's like we're talking Italian.
Have you started them already?
Yeah, Wood. But before we talk about Woods, can we talk about FI3ID? Thank you so much for becoming a member. Absolutely, really do appreciate that. The membership is growing crazy. It's helping us put some new things together. Thank you so much, buddy, for joining in. And you got all the emojis now as well. And don't forget, you'll get the goals during the matches, the backstage passes to Grumpy Old Reds, and loads of other perks. I can't even remember them. But seeing that Ez is pissed off, man, let's talk Wood, mate. Let's talk Wood. Were you taken by Woods, or was Wood a bit of a flop for you? Or where do you think we are with Wood? And guys, I can't deal with any more Wood jokes in the chat, please.
Leave it.
Please.
Leave it out.
I just can't. And that's probably going to want them to do it more now. I know by saying that it's asking for trouble.
I think we've done the Wood innuendos to death now, haven't we?
Yeah. Did he rise to your expectations yesterday?
As a new striker, it was a little bit underwhelming, wasn't it? I don't really know what to say because I didn't really notice him very much, if I'm honest. Although, as I said earlier on, I wasn't at the game, and when you see it on television, you don't see the off-the-ball stuff. And I did read that he did occupy defenders and he was putting himself about. I didn't see that, so I can't.
Nor did I.
Yeah, I can't. I would just say it was very underwhelming. I didn't actually see anything from him. But, it's his first game. He's not trained with that team. It's a brand new team. You got to give the guy a chance. I didn't want him in the first place, but now he's here.
He's here.
I want him to do well. I want him to do well. So we'll see.
I just want to put one thing to bed quickly because I was getting a lot of. He said he was playing on the left, Wolverine. He was playing on the left. His biggest heat map area is over here in terms of his touches and things. And that's the bit that was baffling me. Also, I didn't really understand what Cooper was saying. I must have been watching a different game. Guys in the chat, let me know what you think. But Cooper was saying he was occupying the centre-backs and freeing up space for MG Dub and Jono. I don't know how many centre-backs play in this area in his darkest part of the match. I don't know what he was doing back here for some of the game. But a lot of it's hard to read it obviously on a heat map, but that is the picture of the map. So any of those who is sending comments, I did read them all. You're like, he's didn't play on the left. He did play on the left. You can see he didn't get into the box too much, Ez. And that's the thing that kind of worried me a little. It's like you want him because he is slow. Let's face it. Let's call it straight. Let me just make this a little bigger so the guys in the chat can see it. But he wasn't occupying too much time in the box. And I kind of think if we play him, we want him in and around this kind of middle third area here without him really dropping back too much because it's going to take him about an hour to get back up the pitch. But what was your feelings on him?
Yeah. It was certainly too deep for my liking on every occasion that I spotted. But I think if you put a similar heat map of Surridge's substitute performance against Leicester City, you will see he occupied very similar spaces. And that's what I mean about him being a plan B. I would not have started with him under any, even if he'd had a full week of training with the rest of the squad, because I expect him to be a plan B. When things aren't going right, you can launch your ball up a little bit. But to be effective in that kind of role, you need him in the box. And if he's getting any flick-ons, there was a couple of times he flicked the ball on and Gibbs-white or Jono didn't read it quite right. Once that clicks, you'll see a big benefit from that, because there are times when we pass it around the back and we can't get it anywhere, then we'll launch it. Now we've actually got a target to launch for, but he's not a starter for me, and it's not a formation I want to see us starting with against anybody. We've got a couple of home games coming up next, one in the cup and one in the league. And for both of them, I want to see us more on the front foot. For me, Danilo, I know slightly off the topic, but Danilo is to bring us to a 2 in front of a back 4 for me. Because I'm sure from what we can gather from what even Mario says, but he's better in a 2 than in a 3. So if you're going to get the best out of him, play him in a 2 rather than him in the anchor of a 3. That should give us the ability to play a number 9 and play a number 9 in the right position. For me, he still would be better while Awoniyi's out. Better choice than Surridge, even though Surridge got his goal on the weekend. I can't judge Wood on that performance, and I can't judge him on the way we played in that first half.
He didn't get many touches. I just want to bring up his actual this is his passes. Again, you can see it was quite dominant on this left-hand side, and I don't know what was going on back here. But these were his main passes. Overall, he had 13 passes in the game, which isn't huge. We don't expect, strikers to do that. But if we look at his touches, if I just bring that up for you guys quickly, again, a lot of his touches, not necessarily his passes, were over here in this area. And a lot of them here, you can see they're right on the edge of the pitch here. So I just feel like, is Cooper still trying to put a striker in a left wing position in this? I kind of understand what he said after the match, but I don't agree with it, where he's trying to open up this space for MGW and Jono. But my issue with it is, wouldn't it work better the other way around, where MG and Jono open up space for a striker who's occupying maybe the centre backs, And I don't know how you feel about that, Dan.
I don't know. I don't know, because as I say, I wasn't there, so I don't know. That's all right saying. I understand the heat map certainly gives the impression he was more on the left. I agree 100% with that. And he played a 1 year there as well, so there's obviously something in his mind. I don't quite, if I'm honest, I don't quite get it. But I would like to make just very quickly a couple of points that I'd like your views on. I think most people now would suggest that Eddie Howe's a decent manager. And one of the first players he bought when he went to Newcastle, was Chris Wood. And something that I learned yesterday that surprised me is that this season, Chris Wood has played in every game but one for Newcastle, and they're not doing bad. So there's got to be something that we're missing. Do you know what I mean? Because you got a manager like Eddie Howe.
In the chat here, what they're saying, sorry to interrupt you guys, but like Chris is saying, Geordie fans saying he's only decent with 2 up front. He needs a traditional maybe 4-4-2 or a diamond or something like that. Maybe say he's got a runner off him, because you can see him being that kind of. Remember when we had Grant Holt back in the day, and all he ever did was flick the ball on, kind of thing. So that's potentially what it is. Sci-Fi saying he wants to see Jono and MG Dub's touch, man. I'm happy to. I don't know if you guys like this in the chat or not. Looking at the details, I've got him here, so I'm happy to bring him. Let us know in the chat, and I'll happily bring him up. And there's Stoney getting in with the jokes. Yes, funny. So, but what Boris is saying here is he's trying to drag their centre backs wide and have space throughout the middle. I don't agree with that, because the centre back isn't going to go out to the right hand side or the left hand side. They're going to tag in the right back or the CDM. The centre back isn't that stupid to be like, oh, okay, let me just follow my man all the way around the pitch. So I don't agree with that one. It's not going to occupy the centre backs.
That's my argument for it, because I understand what Cooper's saying, but that's not what we saw. We didn't see that.
Exactly.
It didn't achieve that goal. If he's saying it's to open up more space for Gibbs-White and Jono, that's not what happened. So he was all over the place, and it didn't seem quite structured in what he was doing, but way too deep anyway. And for me, didn't really achieve what Cooper's saying saying the objective was. I didn't see that in the game, and it was a lot better when we had players with the ability playing in the positions that the best at. We had a number 9 playing deep on the left and more as a almost as a CM than a striker, that's for sure. And he certainly didn't open up space.
And we're not digging him out yet. We're just analysing his performance.
No,
I'm still on the fence with him. Yeah, sorry,
playing devil's advocate a little bit. It's hard for a centre forward to be. You showed that heat map. It's hard for a centre forward to show heat map in the opposition penalty box if his team is not putting the ball into the opposition penalty box. And there was a lot of times when we didn't get the ball in the opposition penalty box. So he can't just go and stand on the penalty spot in an offside position, just stand there. Great, his heat map would look great, but it wouldn't mean anything.
Yeah, but you'd still expect him to be central on the defender, wherever their line is. You know what I mean?
I'm just going forward reasons why.
Yeah,
his positioning was where it was.
I was definitely expecting more balls into the box, and the fact of the matter was he wasn't there, and the balls didn't come into the box in that first half, especially, and probably about for the first 10 minutes of the second half. We did towards the end of the game start seeing Lodgy and Aurier getting the ball in. Nico Williams as well, as I alluded to, made a really good impact off the bench. But that first half, we weren't playing like that. So he didn't have the opportunity to play. He certainly didn't play as a number 9, that's for sure. So I didn't understand the point in starting him if you're not going to play him as a number 9. And that's my argument over that.
I agree. I'm going to bring up another map as well, just because I want to talk about the centre backs, and the guys in the chat saying they don't actually mind it. I can get my geek on here. Let me just make this a little bigger. You guys can see that. This is our centre backs and their positions on their heat map with Worrell and Bolly. Obviously, Worrell being the right side, Bolly being the left. And it underlines a bit about how Worrell seems to drag himself out quite far to the right. And actually, Bolly tends to go further left. He was less further to the left than he was normally. Go on, Ant.
So are you saying that a centre-back can be dragged out of position then?
No, by their right back or their left back. That's who drags them out of position, not the opponent. Because what I'm saying here...
if the right back is 3/4 of the length of the pitch and a player is on the left-hand side, the centre-back will go out to him.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
So they can't get dragged out of the centre then, can't they?
Yeah, but seeing that, I would have expected Bolly to be going further across as well then to cover that gap.
Yeah, usually the heat map for Bolly is more covering Lodgy. Yeah. So it's quite interesting. And also,
even going back the other way, if Worrell's so far out of position, surely Bolly should be going across to cover that as well, because that's a massive gap between your centre backs. If that's the heat map, don't you think, guys? Because normally,
I do agree.
You're covering across, aren't you? And there were gaps there. Definitely, and that kind of proves it, doesn't it? They got.
But obviously, if that left centre back then goes up to the right hand side to join Worrell, you're leaving huge space on that side of the pitch.
Yeah, and let me show you the position of Aurier and Lodgy. Yeah,
this is where
that's their heat map.
Aurier's off the pitch.
Aurier is literally off the pitch. Most of his time was spent in the opposition half. In terms of where his touches were on the heat map.
Pop Freuderin. I just want to see how he's...
you're getting your geek on as well.
Hang on a sec. You can see that with Aurier's heat map, you can see why Joe was so far over to the right, can't you?
That's the point I was making, yeah. That's the point I was making. So it's interesting to see. And if you bring on Freuler... Now, I can't split it by halves, but again, he was floating out to the right. So there was a lot of having to cover Aurier's advanced position going on because Aurier was floating out to the right. Now, he does tend to float out to the right quite a bit anyway. But it's interesting that most of those touches, the advanced touches, came on after Danilo came on, so it's quite interesting to see how he got freed up. And then when you look at the likes of Morgan Gibbs-White, again, a heavy-sided towards the rightness. And this is something I want to talk to you guys about. Are we still quite imbalanced? Because I said last year that 70% for me of our attacks came down the right-hand side. We were quite dead down the left-hand side. Are we still a bit too predictable that most of our play is going down the right-hand side?
That is obviously the reason that Cooper's trying to get somebody to play on the left. That shows you
get a bit of balance.
Yeah, that's why he sticks a Wanye there to try and get some action down that left-hand side.
But doesn't that have the potential of isolating a player? If you're shoving a Wanye down the left, and most of the attack's still going down the right, do we just go with the flow and keep it down the right-hand side?
Yeah, I think that's it, though. I think he's trying to not have it all going down the right by putting a 1 year on the left with Logie so that they can have a left-hand side threat. I think. I'm assuming.
Then you look at our last 2 goals from open play both came down from the right-hand side with Jono getting a ball in for a 1 year against Southampton and then for Surridge again last night. So it seems to be our best form of attack. You got to play to your strengths, haven't you? You know, so we can't afford to be too selective in how we attack. But if that's proven to get us results, and it is getting us results, there's no doubt about that. Then you got to kind of stick with it, don't you? But this is fascinating, mate. I'd be on that all day.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you look at the position, if I bring up the front three, if I bring up the front three with Wood there, again, this is probably why we didn't see a lot of Wood, because I've said it and you alluded to it. You didn't notice him that much. This is the map of the front three that we started the game with. And where Woods, most of his time is spent more on this left-hand side, you can see how he got detached from a lot of the football by being too far away on the left-hand side. So that's probably why we didn't see too much of him, you know.
Yeah, I don't think the gameplay suited him. It didn't suit number 9 playing out of position like that, and he hasn't got the extra. Also, I mean, the ball at times the ball bounced off him. It wasn't really sticking, and for a player that I'm expecting to be able to hold up the ball and bring others into play, I was a little bit disappointed from that point of view. But again, I can't be too harsh on him. He's not had a full week's
he hasn't even trained.
He hasn't even trained with a player, so give him time. I think he'll he'll play his part definitely.
Now, what makes it interesting and why I feel there was more balance when Scarpa came on is this is Scarpa's heat map. Yeah, and he was predominantly down the left-hand side linking in with Danilo, and he started to bring Lodi a bit into the game as well. So I guess the question goes back to, should Scarpini be playing more? Should he be starting? I know my answer. How do you feel, Ant? I know your answer as well. But
yeah, of course, he should start. There's no... You play your best players, and he's one of our best players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you know, I still think there's a bit of work to do. It's interesting, those heat map now. If I get time this week, I don't know if we will before the Man U game, I'll put a full video out for the guys just analysing all the heat maps, the touches and everything. But overall, I still am disappointed with our away form. I still think it needs a lot of...
You can't help be anything but disappointed with it. It's pathetic.
It is, but is it a mentality issue? Again, I raised this point about a month or two ago when I said that, are we motivating the players, as in the City ground, the crowd there? And are they not getting that same feeling of motivation when they're away from home? Like, is it really that big an impact? And should it be?
You know what? Don't underestimate how difficult it is to win away from home in the Premier League.
Oh,
you know, if you look at, except for the top few, if you look at the rest of them, you look at how few games they win away. It's really, really difficult. It's not just us. It really isn't.
I agree. I agree.
And Bournemouth are fighting for their lives. You know, let's not underestimate that. They're fighting for their lives. I think Vera's, out of the 3 promoted teams, they're probably most in danger of going straight back down. And they know it. You know, they're trying to pull out we're trying to pull out all the stops to try and get these players in to give themselves a chance. But they've stuck with their manager, who I wouldn't have as a Championship manager, and they haven't really got the resources or the finances to be challenging even us. You know, we're the new kids on the block, and we're blowing most of these teams out of the water when it comes to the signings and the quality of the signings. Let's not get that wrong either. Yeah. So they're playing for their lives, and to get a point away from our last 2 away games, we've taken 4 points from 6. I'm not going to be disappointed with that. I'm seeing progress. I'm seeing that we're not such a pushover. I felt once we made the right changes in that second half, we were more in the game. And once we scored the equaliser, we looked like the team most likely to win the game from my point of view. So we're not that pushover we were before the World Cup. So I'm seeing progress, guys. So I'm going to be positive from that point of view. And 7 points from our last 9 in the Premier League. Got to be
pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I just want to say a couple of things. Simon F, seen your comment about you and Phil want to discuss 4-3-2-1, but I went to the weird heat map. Why can't we do that with Scarpa in the middle and Sturridge and Wood on the right? We will get into all of this, but I've just had a look at the time and it's crazy late, and we've all got work and stuff in the morning. So we'll bring up this debate. I think there's a Grumpy Old Reds one coming up on Tuesday for you, and also we've got the locker room tomorrow for your calls, because we want to hear what you guys think with Lemmy and of course with Megaphone, and they have a special guest host who you guys are gonna love, and I hope you got some interesting questions for them. So we'll wrap it up for there. We need 2 more likes for 100. So if you've forgotten to hit the like button, please don't forget to do so now. Just get us over that 100 mark would be fantastic. I really hope you've enjoyed having Mario on. Again, if Mario's still watching, a massive thank you and a shout out to you for taking the time for us. But we'll be back tomorrow with the transfer news. We haven't had a chance to talk about all the rumors and stuff, so I'll get a video out to you guys sometime tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you all tomorrow and all the content coming for you from Forest Fan TV. Come on, you Reds.
You Reds.